McGrath.
Good. Last caller, I'm happy to speak in this tonight, although I would prefer to be here speaking with Minister Kelly, who's not here, and Minister Coffey, on the real crisis that is in housing. Not tinkering with bits and pieces of it, like we're doing in this attempt here today, and ramming it in at this hour of the night here in Dáil. It's just like a fella getting a blowout, and someone arrives out with a bicycle pump to reinflate the wheel tire. It's a nonsense, and you know that, Minister. And you above anyone else, and I'd like to compliment you on your experience and your work over the years in the County Council and knowing what it is. But we know your colleague arrived from on high, and is still on high, and he's slowly coming down to the ground, but he'll come with a crash one of these days. Minister Kelly, he doesn't know the first thing about how county councils operate, or legislation around it too, or what the different bits and pieces of the County Council or make it up were always. And that's patently obvious. He arrived in Clonmel recently, with your good self, mind you. Didn't tell the chairman of the County Council, didn't tell the mayor of the town. He was announcing 3.8 million for housing temporary. Man from Alan the Superman. And he didn't tell the County Council either. And they're still waiting to get in writing what the extra amount of money he got, that they have got given. It's all spin. That man, when he gets up in the morning, he goes to bed at night, he's in his spin, but he's going to fly off the spinning top one of these days, and he's going to be found out. And that's the facts of it. And I was surprised that he brings you along to rub you into it as well. You have your own proud record, but it stands much better than his. I want to say that when we saw this big announcement last year, and he says here in his statement tonight that, as you're aware, the government published a comprehensive Construction 2020 strategy for a renewed construction sector in May 2014, encompassing 75 specific actions. Anyone knows that anyone wants to do anything, and if they don't want to do it, they'll bring in 75 specific actions. 5 actions would have done. 5, not 75, but of course confuse, dispel, mixed up and make up as you go along. 75 actions. He wouldn't have them written before he gets shoved out of government in the near future in the next election. He wouldn't have been written. Not the mind saying acted. And that's the kind of poppycock we're getting from this minister. The minister, we thought the last one was bad. Come back, Big Phil, all is forgiven. Look what you left us, in the name of God. Anyway, I want to say that the Part 5, Minister, I know good companies, construction companies who operated the Part 5 in my own village and elsewhere and were successful. Cutting that from 20% to 10% is a non-runner, and it's pure stupid. I know who will look for it. The big business people. The big business people in the Construction Federation of Ireland. Another acronym, but we know what their interests are. And big business like NAMA. I said it when it was set up. It was like a wild animal in the woods, and no one knew where it ended up. And we know where it ended up. Every town and village, with portfolios of property, with weeds growing out of them, and with anguish and pain and trauma for the people, many people. But no, a gravy train for some other chosen developers, who are the chosen ones. They're picked in to work with NAMA and paid handsomely, and they're in there and they're getting their side deals and their cushy deals, and it's nothing short of an outrage. Minister, I also want to say there's no point in doing anything here if we don't deal with rent control. So you should have one of your actions with the Department of Social Welfare as well. The levy of 3% on vacant sites. Minister, and it won't be in place until 2019. Goodness knows where Mr. John F. Key and Deputy Minister Alan Kelly will be that stage. God knows. He certainly won't be this Parliament anyway, and we'll be waiting until 2019. Such flippant way to deal with people and to try and suggest these things. I have a good hope that you, and I hope you will be around because you're a practical man, but he certainly won't be here, and he will be asked about 2019 once we're talking to mayors, and that's the sad fact of it. There's plenty of legislation there, Minister, in the local authority with the Derelict Sites Act and other legislation for local authorities to be proactive in dealing with derelict sites in their towns and in small and rural villages. They've become derelict streets, main streets in towns in my county and every other county as well. They should be proactive there and be supported by your department, but you're not giving them a cent to do it, and get these places regenerated, get businesses open again, give rent reliefs, and give other kinds of schemes to support businesses that are struggling. You got it in the teeth this week when you're boasting about the economy. You're tired of reports and this report and that report. Economy was booming, fastest growing economy in Ireland, and yet a bullet out of the blue. Cleary's just in the middle of under your noses. A massive, long-established business just went belly up. And other businesses are hanging on by the fingernail. You know it in Portlaw, you know it in Dungarvan, you know it in Tramore. I know it in all the counties, and everyone here is honest knows it as well. The businesses are hanging on, but they can't stay hanging on because the banks aren't giving them a shilling. They're trying to compete with people then in NAMA properties, NAMA-run hotels, who are running at cost price, a below-cost price, and it's not a fair trading pitch. So we look at everything here, 75 specific actions, but we don't look at the elephant in the room. And the elephant, I said, and he's much bigger than an elephant now, is NAMA. And you can't even get up on him because what is it? It's just something that's out of control. And Minister, there are many ways you could deal with this practically if you wanted it. But sticking in this bit of legislation here because there's an election coming up and maybe the Labour Party were prodding you to make it look good, as if you were interested and you might do something. There's one aspect of the bill that I would welcome, and that is, as I said, the development charge, which are very high in many, many counties, and there's going to be a review of that. And if it's going to be a downward review, I welcome that it'll be retrospective, that people who have got planning permission. And I mention this mainly in rural Ireland. And I want to talk about rural regeneration, and I want to talk about the voluntary housing sector also. Minister, Mr. Kelly made a pure bags of this one as well. He announced a review of the legislation that was passed here last year. In spite of all of us appealing that don't pass it, don't force it in. The architects wanted it, of course, that he doubled and he put €1,600 extra and €2,000 extra on people building their own houses in the country by just one swipe of a pen, by voting it through the lobbies here again, and he just thought you could do. What happened? Minister Kelly took over the reins then, and he got up on his horse and he said, hold it up here, stop the pony here. I ain't going to have a review of this. I ain't going to change this. This is not going to be acceptable. And where are the people? I have 5 of them in my own area that have planning, have builders, have design, have everything waiting to go. But they're waiting for Alan the Great, Alan the Mighty.
Minister.
Oh, sorry, Minister, of course, Minister. They might as well go out to Mount Millery and pray to the, statue out there, because there's no review. And what has happened? Building activity has ceased in every county in Ireland because of this phony promise made by a phony minister. Nothing short of it. A man that knows everything in a very short time. He should have crawled before he walked and walked before he ran. But he came in on a gallop and he'd go out on a canter. As it shows, I'm sitting here because the people of Tipperary telling me every day. And there's not much point going to Paul's Row announcing this. Going down to Barges to announce a bus shelter. Going to Callaghan Show to announce something else, and someone else already announced that you were supposed to open the housing development that was done in the previous government's time, and no one opened it yet because he won't let you do it. He has to do everything. We saw he done Cork last week. He wants to announce and open everything. If it's only an envelope that's already open, someone put a bit, go on and he'll open it again. And that's the instructions he's given. That's what he's interested in. Self-gratification, self-proclamation, and to hell with the ordinary people. People in housing crisis. We don't, Minister, somebody mentioned it a minute ago, I think it was Deputy Murphy, that South Tipperary County Council don't have a shilling for emergency accommodation, as all they have is the phone number of social welfare, the phone number of a housing agency in Waterford City, you know well, and one in Carlow, of 2 housing shelters. And they haven't even the bus fare to give the unfortunate homeless to go down to Waterford or Carlow, Kilkenny. They have to send them down to the Key, to the social welfare office, to get the price of the bus fare. And Alan Kelly, Minister Kelly, Dumalash Gale, and now just millions for Tipperary. It's the greatest con job. And if the people, and it's time that the officials in South Tipperary County Council, and we had this recently at our meeting, our Rockers members with the manager, stood up to this blunder and bluff and baloney, because they don't have a penny. Not a shilling they don't have. And I want to salute the housing officers, Claire Crowley, Aidan Finnessy, Sean Lunning and others, that do tremendous work under huge conditions. And again, what have we? They now have to look after South Tipperary because of Minister again and your government forced the diminishing of local democracy. They have no local housing authorities, and now South Tipperary are trying to look after places up as far as Portumna. Some of them don't even know where the places are, and I don't blame them. And here we are, and we have none of the money that we had for half the size of the county before. Look, this thing is farcical beyond the extreme, and I honestly want to say to you that it's despicable. And by putting in patches here, as I said, bringing on a bicycle pump or something like that to repair a blowout and a tyre is not good enough. The voluntary housing sector, which I'm a proud worker in, I was on the ICSH board and I salute them for years. They have huge capacity to build and develop and deliver houses fastly. No quick bucks, no big developers, no NAMAs, no big architects. They will deliver projects, and they will have turnkey projects developed while you say diddly squat. But no, any of the big friends of Fine Gael wouldn't be supported then. Any of the big friends of Fine Gael. Sorry? Oh, you will like friends. And you announced that, Minister. If you told me the sun is shining, I'd go out and see it raining. I wouldn't have to go out because I'd be wet before I come in. That's the way, but no one believes you. And don't you fall into the same old trick as Minister Kelly. That's not like you, and that wasn't like your family before you. Don't fall into that old trick of announcements that nobody. When the election is coming, we're going to announce it a week now before the election, is it? And next thing you announce the election, and it fills out to the people, but nothing. Unless there's maize in the fields that you're going looking for votes in, you'll be found out. You'll be found because you can't hide. The long grass won't be long enough to hide you.
Now, call Deputy Sean.